You don't replace an extreme with another extreme. Minimalism to me is really not about having nothing or living a standardized life or having no personality, but it's really about doing conscious choices, choosing quality over quantity, timelessness over trendy, and even spending a little bit more right now to save money later. Because I know that you guys are tired of polyester, you're tired of seeing new trends every day, ads everywhere, always feeling this need of buying hundreds of different products. And since you guys loved my video on 90s minimalism so much and you've been asking me to do a broader video where I talk about how I implement minimalism in my everyday life as well, today I'm going to give you my idea of minimalism, and I'm also going to give you some tips on how you can do it as well. You might be asking, Mirella, why are you using headphones to talk today? Well, I forgot the adapter of my microphone at home, in my family home, which is 5 hours from here. So yeah, in the next few videos, you're gonna see me with these headphones. Hopefully, as soon as possible, we will have a normal setting again, but for now, we're gonna use headphones. As always, if you're new here, again, my name is Mirella. Here we talk about all things self-care, class, minimalism, self-growth. And if you want to connect with me, in the description, you will find all of my information and my other socials where I post daily tips and so much more about my life. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So first thing first, what even is my idea of minimalism? Now, when you search for minimalism, what you're gonna see probably is gonna be people wearing standardized outfits, very boring white houses with no personality, sometimes even an extreme type of underconsumption where people literally live with nothing. Well, my idea of minimalism could be further from this. And I actually already made a video on this, specifically on capsule wardrobes. Because again, when you search up capsule wardrobe, what you're gonna see is an absolute guide on how to buy the exact standardized pieces that everyone should have in their wardrobe that will literally just make you boring. And I also feel like that is not minimalism at all, and it's actually a way to overconsume again, because you're just gonna end up buying 10 different pieces that don't even resonate with you, that you don't even like because you think that they are staples. Again, it's just another way to sell you things. So if you're interested in this topic more in a fashion sense, again, I already made a video on that. So what is even my idea of minimalism? It is about doing conscious choices, buying less, but always buying a higher quality. So the first thing I would really keep in mind is definitely buy nice or buy twice. Always focus on fabrics and materials. Listen, the truth is this. Differently from like 10 years ago, we're literally living in a world where every single piece that you want to buy is made of plastic, of pure polyester. Not only that, we're also constantly bombed with new things to buy, new trends, new ads, social media, influencers trying to sell us more things. And where this leads us is to always have a completely full wardrobe with nothing to wear. Or with a lot of things to wear, you actually even like, but that completely destroy themselves after a few washes. So yeah, in the last few years, I really have been feeling these shifts where I'm so tired, and I feel like a lot of people are doing these shifts as well. We're really opening our eyes, and I'm really tired of buying trends. I'm really tired of following these things. The thing is this, if you really want to be a minimalist in this sense, that will require a lot of mental work. And with that, I mean the fact that you can buy quality, you can buy whatever you want, but if you don't build an identity around it, if you don't even know who you are, if you don't even know what you actually like, you will always end up following trends. Trends that you just spend more money on right now, because you might be buying more expensive things, but you would still be buying what other people tell you to buy. So when I speak about mental work, what I mean is that you really need to understand what is your taste. And that might really change and evolve with time. But the problem is that if your taste changes constantly 3 times per year, if you feel like you need to change your entire wardrobe every single time you see a new trend or every single time you see a new series, just like people are doing now with Caroline Bessette, and I actually already made a video on this, so again, go check it out. That doesn't show that your style is evolving. That just shows that you don't have security behind it, that you don't know who you are, and you need to search for it in other people's style. Yes, your style might evolve, so there's nothing that is actually timeless from when you're born to your 80s. Of course you're gonna evolve, of course you're gonna change, of course your style will change somehow, and that's good. That means that you're growing as a person, you know. But at the same time, if the change is so radical every single time, that might mean that you just don't know who you are, that you don't have a stability behind it. So that requires a lot of mental work before buying. One thing, for example, that happened with me is that when I actually started questioning my style, and again, it was a process. It took me a long time, but I actually reached that. And securing who I am, even if other people might think it's boring or other people might think it's ugly, whatever. I know who I am. I don't feel threatened by trends or other people's choices. One thing I noticed when I actually did all the mental work and I actually understood what I liked and who I am was also that not buying fast fashion anymore became completely normal. I do not want to buy things that will not make me feel the best version of myself in them. With that, I don't mean that I threw out my entire wardrobe, because I didn't. I still have some clothes that are not high quality and I'm not gonna throw them out because I like them, but I'm not gonna buy new clothes that are that quality. There's no point in keep doing that. This mental work and understanding who you are and confidence are not only useful because they make you understand what you actually like, and so they give you a guide, to find your style. There's also a way in which, for example, with me, they showed me that my standards are too high to buy things that make me feel bad, or to buy things that are overpriced, by the way. They're just plastic, Now, following all this work on your confidence, something I really want you to do is to really build your identity. And I feel like something that people don't really talk about when it comes to minimalism is that you don't need to be a minimalist in the style sense. So you don't need to be basic to be a minimalist in your lifestyle. And what I mean by this is that, yes, I do love a little elevated basic moment. You know that I love 90s minimalism, that I like to dress classy and simple, but that's just who I am. But the point here is that if you like a completely different style that might be super colorful and super extravagant, and you might love a lot of fur, a lot of these things, that doesn't mean that you need to overconsume and that you cannot buy quality. And my idea of minimalism is really rooted in buying high quality, choosing timelessness. It's really not focused on how you have to dress. It's actually the complete opposite. It's about pushing you into finding what you like, what is your style, and that could be the complete opposite of mine, without feeling the need to overconsume anymore, without feeling the need of changing your whole style and your whole personality every single time a new thing comes on. And so that really doesn't mean that you have to dress basic or that you have to have a capsule wardrobe, which is, again, what I said in my video on capsule wardrobes, that you do not need to have a standardized wardrobe. You do not need to buy a jean, one shirt, two t-shirts, one jumper, and that's gonna be your wardrobe. You really don't need to do that. It's really about who you are, your personality, and expressing yourself through your wardrobe as well, but not feeling the need anymore to buy all that stuff that you will never gonna use, but buy things that are not aligned with you, buying low quality just because maybe other people recommend it. So yeah, minimalism, at least in my personal opinion, is about under-consuming, or normal consumption actually, buying a few but very good pieces in the style that you love. You don't need to be boring. You don't need to dress white. You don't need to have a gray house to be a minimalist. Now, the next point is what people call Project Pen, which, if you haven't heard of, is about using all your products before buying new ones, which for me, to be honest, is a dumb thing, which is literally normal consumption. I'm kidding, but think about it. If we need another project, which is another trend, it's just another trend basically, to just stop consuming so much, where are we going as a society? What do you need a trend to tell you that you need to stop consuming so much? How easy do you buy things? Okay, so I feel like I don't need to express myself too much on this, but Project Pen to me, actually just normal consumption. You can have 2 blushes, you can have 2 creams, you don't need to have 10. Okay, this is literally being a normal human being. That's it. And the crazy thing is that people call this minimalism, but it's not minimalism. I don't want to be judgy. So if you feel like Project Pen is very helpful for you, again, I might need to go back to my previous point, which is mental work. You really might need to work on your personality and your security of yourself. And I really don't mean this in an offensive way at all. I really mean this in the best way possible. It's really the only way in which you can be sold things so easily is by not working on that, by not knowing who you are, and so needing other people to tell you who you are and what you need to buy to become it. Now, following the same line of topic, When it comes to my beauty products, I am not against creativity. So I'm not against, for example, being a person who loves makeup so much, because I know people that love makeup. For example, if you're a makeup artist, of course, you're gonna have a lot of products. You know that I'm not talking about you, because this is a profession or this is a hobby, for example, for someone. The problems comes when you're an easily influenced person. So this is a completely different thing. If you buy every single thing you're recommended just because you see it, when it comes to clothes, when it comes to makeup, that's the problem. But if you have a hobby or if you have a passion on something, this is a different thing, and you know that. I don't feel like I need to explain to you your own passions. You will know if you're a person that overconsumes, hopefully. But anyways, with that said, I'm not against trying new things, but me personally, I really work well with a very minimal beauty product routine. So my skincare routine is very basic. I use medical grade products, and my beauty routine is very basic as well. I've been using the same products for years. I've been buying the same exact products every single time. So yeah, I'm a very simple girl. I would say that I'm a minimal girl also when it comes to makeup itself, because I just don't buy much. It's always been like that. If you know me, you know that I wouldn't even wear mascara until until my second year of university, because I had this friend that had amazing lashes and she put me into this amazing mascara. And so from that moment on, I started wearing mascara. But I've always been a true minimalist at my core, also when it comes to my makeup routine. So really, yeah, I can show you my makeup bag. Okay, so this is all of my makeup. So this is a vintage Gucci pouch from my great aunt. Also in this, I didn't buy a new one, even though I should, because this is literally destroyed. And what do we have here? First of all, my foundation, which is my Dior foundation. As you can see, this is very much used. It's basically empty. Yes, I definitely need to buy a new one. And honestly, most of my products here are completely empty. In fact, I have my concealer, which I need to buy again. Oh my god, this is so disgusting, to be honest. Here you can really see why I say that Project Pan is crazy, because that is literally normal consumption. You finish something before buying a new one. So we have a couple brushes and a beauty blender, my eyelash curler, which I couldn't live without, my mascara, which is literally from Essence. I think that this is like €4 probably, but it works very well, so I'm just gonna buy it. I have a couple lip products here, 3, 4 maybe. Yeah, they're all different things. And one other thing about me is that I do receive some PR. You know, I've been posting on social media aside from YouTube for a while now, and I did get a lot of products over the year. But another thing that I feel like makes me a true minimalist in this sense is that I just cannot keep products, so I always give them away. For example, this Rimmel gloss was given to me by the brand. I worked with them last year, I think. I tried all their glosses and then I just kept 2 and I gifted them to my friends, because why would I have 5 different shades of the same gloss that I'm just not gonna use? It's just gonna expire, you know? Same thing with any other product, to be honest. Every single time I receive products, I'm gonna try them out, I'm gonna keep what I like, but if I have 10 different things of the same thing, I'm not gonna keep them and wait for them to expire, you know. I know that most influencers have wardrobes full of products, but I'm just not one of them, and I'm not saying this to be different or something like that. It's just who I am. I just cannot have too many things. I get overstimulated so easily, and I feel like maybe it's the way I grew up. I don't need to own that much stuff. I feel like it's really dystopic for people to go online and see influencers showing you what you lack and what you should have. I just really don't understand this hunger of always wanting to consume more, show that you have more. In fact, because of this, you can definitely be sure that every single time I promote a product is because I actually love the product. Because after this video, you can be sure that I don't own a lot of things. I don't want to own a lot of things. I want to own a few things that are very high quality, that make me feel good in my skin, in who I am. Now for this last part of the video, I just want to give you some steps for you to follow, especially if you feel like what I said resonate with you. You feel like you actually overconsume and that you want to stop. Maybe you want to be a little bit more minimalist. Maybe you want to find who you really are and just start being more secure in who you are. So first thing first, I really want you to do the mental work. And what is the mental work, you might ask? It is really a process. It's not just one thing. You really need to work on your confidence and your security. And to do that, you can start by doing shadow work. You can find shadow work questions online, on Pinterest, wherever you want, to start journaling, understanding who you are, understanding what you like, where you want to go in life. Also, just scrolling on Pinterest sometimes can be much better than scrolling social media in general. I feel like in there, you don't see people that tell you who you need to be, but you only see and watch and save the things that really resonate with you. So yeah, you might be a little influenced by what you watch every single day in other socials and what you think is pretty in that moment in your life, especially if you're very young. I feel like it's very difficult to really find yourself, to understand who you are, and to stop following trends. I feel like when you're in high school especially, it's very much normal. But if you're already in your 20s, in your 30s, and you still don't know who you are, you really need to put the work in. And so scrolling a little bit on Pinterest, I feel like it's very healthy, and it's honestly my favorite social media. I actually have so many Pinterest boards on here, and I have boards for my life, my style, what I like. And I feel like even there, when I scroll a lot in my folders, I can really see the shift from where I didn't even know who I was and I was just saving things that I thought were pretty. That from a moment on, they just start to be more and more alike, and you see that I have more security in what I like. My style actually became much more timeless. You see, these are some of my folders. I have one for my looks, the things that I like, and for my goals, for my university, all these things. Yeah, I feel like Pinterest is very healthy. So well, it's definitely healthier than other social media. So if you want to find who you are, starting from inspiration while also working on yourself, so doing shadow work, maybe therapy, working on your confidence, even just watching videos on it. Content in general is not a negative thing. It's not a bad thing to be on social media. The bad thing is that most of the time you don't control what you're watching, and so you just end up watching stupid things, and you end up watching negative things. You follow random people or people that just tell you who you have to be. But if you use social media in the right way, it can actually enhance your confidence. Even consuming, for example, YouTube videos on self-growth, on self-development, actually could be very, very helpful for you. The next tip I want to give you if you want to become more of a minimalist is to really start selling most of your old stuff. But wait a minute, because I really don't want you here to start over-consuming again. You really need to make it a slow process. So I'm not telling you to throw everything out or to start selling every single thing that is made of polyester, because you will probably end up with an empty wardrobe, and so you will have to buy everything at once. I really don't recommend you to do that, because again, you will just overconsume over and over again, like I was saying with the capsule wardrobes in the beginning of the video. Just start from a selection. Again, I'm not telling you to do everything at once. I'm not telling you to rush or to overconsume. Just start by selecting and start selling the pieces. You don't need to throw them out. Your garbage is probably going to be another person's treasure. For example, I use Vinted a lot. You can buy a lot of things on there, and you can also sell a lot of things on there. So to really conclude this video, my idea of minimalism is not about wearing a t-shirt and jeans. It is to only allow high quality experiences, high quality materials into your life. It's actually to feel secure in who you are, not feeling the need to follow trends, and not feeling the need to constantly overconsume because of it. It's an intentional underconsumption. It's really about selection and high standards in the way you dress and also in the life that you want to have. So as always, I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.